I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks on how to use the simulator portion for your salivary amylase lab. If you guys notice over here on the left-hand side, this is where we get to change the type of test that we're going to be doing. You will start with temperature, and then using the drop-down menu, you can change to the pH test. I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the temperature test. And then from here, we can change our variables at what temperature we are going to be performing our experiment at. You can go in any order, just make sure you're going to record it in the correct spot. I'm going to click on 37 degrees Celsius. You might notice that I'm not able to change the pH because this is going to be the second part of the experiment, and so this is going to be blocked out from you. When you are ready to perform your experiment, you are going to add the saliva solution into the test tube, which is now at a 37 degrees. To do so, I'm just going to click on the top of my dropper, and you guys will notice that there is some solution that is pulled up into the pipette. When I hold it over my test tube and release, you can see it's going to add the saliva solution into my starch solution in the test tube. Now, to put this saliva starch solution into my test tubes A through G that contain iodine, I'm going to be using this pipette over here. When I click it and I want to drag it over to my test tube with my saliva starch solution, and I need to enter the test tube from the top and stick the tip of the pipette into the solution. When I do that, you will notice that there is some solution pulled up into my dropper, and then I'll just drag it over to my test tube and release to add the drops of my solution. Now we're going to continue adding this every 2 minutes to our test tube. You don't have to do it exactly at the 2-minute mark, but you have to do it within this time frame to then have it recorded. So I'm going to then, I'm a little bit off, but I'm going to do it again. Going in from the top, I stick my pipette into the solution, I drag it over to my test tube, and I'll add my solution. Notice it'll record the time down here at the bottom for you, so you don't have to type anything in here. If you're having troubles getting your solution into your pipette, if you're just trying to go from the side of the test tube, it's not going to work because that wouldn't work in real life. We have to do this exactly like we would if we were in a lab. We got to enter from the top of the test tube and put our pipette down into our solution, and we'll release it into the next test tube. You guys will continue doing this for the appropriate amount of time, adding it every 2 minutes. If you get off like I did, just hit the reset button, and you're going to have to change your parameters to back to what you want to test, and then you can do this experiment again. You may have to play around with it several times in practice to get your solution into those test tubes every 2 minutes because it does go pretty quick.